I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the process that this is not a replacement for personal protective equipment. It's an alternative in case the event happens that we should run low on supply. This is not in no way replacing the current process that we have in place now. It's just an alternative and something that we could possibly use if we need to. Hi everyone, my name is Rose Hedges and I'm the Nursing Research and Innovation Coordinator here at St. Luke's Hospital.
My name is Clayton Skousen. I am the Fabrication Fellow at Generate, the makerspace here at UnityPoint Hospital.
So today we're going to be talking about how to create the Olsen mask that we've designed to be able to help keep our clinicians safe, as well as it can be used in the public. So the first step is to be able to take some cotton fabric. A blend will work, but the lighter the weight, the better. And then cut out each piece, and that's the steps here. So Clayton here has everything set up and ready for us to go. So he's going to sew the first pieces together to kind of show you how we're going to be piecing this together.
How long do you think it takes to sew something like this?
Probably about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
So as he's sewing that, the next thing that we're going to be getting prepared is our other pieces. It's going to be important that we sew them together, and then we'll put them together with patterns touching, so that way we can then invert them like a pillowcase would act. So he's going to be grabbing the next pieces here, folding over the seam, and then sewing those down. The important piece of that is that we don't want any edges that can be fraying. Fraying and things like that are just going to deteriorate as we have to wash them, so that's why he's folding these seams over.
Show me how you fold that over, Clayton.
So I'm actually just doing just a 1/4 inch, and maybe we'll probably want to measure that and iron it down. I'm just kind of doing it quickly this way, but it is just a 1/4 inch is all I'm doing. And that's the same for the mouth pieces as well as the cheek pieces, which is what I'm currently sewing.
So now he's going to do the same thing with the mouth pieces. So the next step he's going to be doing is sewing the two mouth pieces together.
So you're just carefully lining them up.
You can pin them. I don't think it's very necessary for something like this, but if you would like them to be more stable, you can definitely pin them.
So next he's going to take the two mouthpieces that he's sewn together and lay them next to where the dotted line would be on your pattern with the cheek pieces.
Actually clean all these up. Which might cause getting away. Yeah.
And as you're kind of cleaning those up, Rose, tell me about how this pattern was developed. You worked with, I mean, it wasn't just a solo effort. You worked with other people to collaborate on this.
Yeah, so Clayton and I worked together with our Maker Health team located in Boston and with their resources as well. So we did a lot of literature review and looking at filtration science and kind of what's going to be the most important thing, kind of bang for our buck idea. And we're looking at being able to add our own filter. So there's a lot of mask patterns out there. A lot of them are great, and yes, they are going to help. It is definitely better than not having a mask at all. But we wanted to create something that we could have that added protection to, and so that's why we made it a little bit more complex than some that you're actually seeing out there floating around in society now, because we wanted to be able to add that filter. So as Clayton is cleaning up these last pieces here to be able to sew the inside piece, which creates our pocket, we'll show you kind of what that looks like here.
And tell me about the filter a little bit.
Yeah, so we did a lot of mining for data, if you will, and looking at kind of what's been studied out there before, and there's been some articles published about lots of just home materials that you can use for filtrations. And kind of what we were looking at is kind of the micron level, and what the micron level of the virus COVID-19, and what we know for the N95 mask. And we know that 0.3 microns is kind of what the N95 mask is. So we were looking what is similar to that, and we found that actually vacuum bags, like a HEPA filter, is about the same as that. So what we're using, you can purchase these as well. There's lots of different HEPA filters. It's the HEPA filter fabric is what we're going to be using as our filtration piece here.
If somebody's sewing this at home, what do they do about the filter piece?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's lots of things that you can actually use. You can, like I said, the vacuum bag piece of it. You can buy them at the store. You actually can look at micron filters. You can buy them on places like Amazon, things like that. It's going to work with or without the filter. It's just at the actual, if somebody coughs in your face, the filter is going to give you a little bit more added benefit. It's more about having the filter piece and then the seal, which we'll talk about here soon.
Okay, so tell me what you have here, Clayton.
So what I have here is the cheek pieces and then the mouth piece, and I've had them overlapped, as you can see right there, and just kind of, you can see how it blends into each other. The pattern has that blended spot, and so you just put it right on top of each other at that point. And I actually am going to pin down at this point, mostly because there's a little bit more pieces hanging about. You can even pin it a little further in. Won't matter if it's, in fact, it might be even a little bit better and easier if you do it like so. We'll do on both sides. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating the pouch for the inside of the mask. And we're only going to be stitching right here where it's overlapping on the top and on the bottom. And we're going to leave this right here open to create that pocket. I'd like to note all of the seam allowances that I've been giving on all of these have been a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which is just, for those who are unfamiliar with sewing terms, is just how much distance there is from the edge of the material to where the actual stitch is going to be going. As you get those stitches, you can take the pins out. Okay, so now we're finishing up the other side. Now we've created the inside and the outside of the mask. We have the outside right here, which has been created. And we have now the inside of the mask, which has been created as well. And so we'll finish cleaning up this real quick. And then what we're going to do is we're kind of going to construct it similar to how a pillowcase is constructed. We're just going to be sewing all the way around and then turning it inside out through the slits that we've created through the overlapping. All right.
So as Clayton's getting ready to sew these two pieces together, I'll just mention that, again, this is part of the importance of having the non-frayed edges, things that can unravel on us. So that was the purpose behind creating it in this pillowcase fashion.
We're also going to put some needles in here as well, since we're going to be doing a little bit more, just a few stitches. This will just help keep it together for sewing. Alright, so we have all that around. We're just going to stitch all the way around and close it off. And we'll just be taking the needles out as we go.
So as Clayton's finishing up sewing around this perimeter here, I can talk a little bit about some of the tools that we're using to add into our mask. I know we discussed the filter already, but the other piece would be the seal piece that we had mentioned. So there's a couple things that I have kind of laid out here that we can talk about in helping create that seal. You can use things such as pipe cleaners. You can use things such as wax covered thread. Anything that's going to bend and hold its shape is going to be a useful tool. And we're going to put that at the top, kind of in the inside of that pocket, to help create that bridge of the nose, which gives you a tighter seal. Other things that I've read about online, that people are using the top part of file folder cabinets that go in your file cabinets, the bendy metal piece. Anything really that you can find that kind of helps to create that seal is going to help with these masks. As for our purposes and asking of the public, if you're wanting to donate your time and your materials, I would just say that the only thing that we're requesting right now is that you make this shape that Clayton is making here. We will take care of the filter. We will take care of putting the elastic piece on for the ear piece that holds it in place. And we'll also take care of putting it on the piece that helps create that bridge and that seal for protection. So our general ask really is just to create this pattern here.
So just this, what Clayton has in his hand, is really what we need at the end of the day, and we can take the rest.
Yes.
Okay, just to reiterate that point, I think.
And so now we have the mask completely made.
Can you show it to me a little bit, Clayton?
Yep. So it's all made inside out right now. And then what we'll do is there's little pockets that we created. We will flip the whole thing out. And I have just a little like croquet needle that I pulled aside. Just you can use with a pencil or a pen, just to kind of pop out the corners a little bit better.
I think it's probably worth noting too, it doesn't have to, I mean, this is really a nice looking mask, but it doesn't have to be super stylish, does it?
No.
Absolutely not. Definitely it could be one solid fabric. It could be, the purpose of us using multiple fabrics here is so you could see the different pieces and kind of understand the way that we're putting those together. It could be made out of t-shirt fabric. Like I said, breathable the better, because we're putting a filter inside of this. We don't want it a heavyweight material, but really anything is going to help.
Okay.
And so there you have it. So you have that pocket still that you can put the filter in itself. As well as, I think what Rose was mentioning is for different nose bridges, they can also be put inside.
So how do you,
As well.
I know you said don't worry about that aspect, but you will then put those nose bridges in yourselves, and I don't necessarily, you just pop it in
Yeah,
there?
just slide right in.
Yep.
Okay.
And what we have is we have wax thread, which will, once it's compressed to the fabric, it should hold in place. But we have some other options that we're looking at trying.
And how would those stay in there? Do they just stay in?
They do.
I mean, I suppose they've got a little bit of tackiness with this
Mhm.
here. And,
Mhm.
Okay, so it won't move around so much.
Yep,
Right.
and if people are wanting to be adding their own elastics for their own use, We're just using hair bands, and really all you do is just fold it right over. And what I would suggest is maybe getting a safety pin and kind of figuring out how far you need it to go. We added extra length on here so you can fold it more or less for different size spaces. Find out what fits, mark it up, and then just put a single stitch right there.
Okay. But if people want to even go that whole 9 yards, so to speak, and add kind of the hair bands and stuff, I mean, just make it a kind of a general length, I guess, for a face?
Yeah, I would say still right now, I think that our preference would be that you would not add the elastic piece to it right now, just because working with the clinicians individually and what's going to work for them. Not that we're going to measure each patient or employee that comes in the door, but having multiple sizes that we've kind of custom made with that would probably be the best.
And then the wonderful thing about these too, they're washable, so people could reuse them if they, or put them over other masks maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's another option as well. So you could insert a regular surgical mask in here, or you could wash them and use them. And like I said, if you don't have the filter part, it's still filtering out about 50% because it's cotton of the 0.3 micron. So it's still giving you quite a bit of protection. Okay, so now that we have our finalized sewed mask, we're going to be doing our last steps here. And for those of you in the community, this is a step that we'll take care of here at the hospital, but for those of you across the globe that are wanting to do this on your own communities, these are the last steps that you can do to make sure that it's a safe mask. So we're going to take our 0.3 micron filter and insert it into the pocket here.
And again, those filters, Rose, the hospital will provide here.
Yep, the hospital will provide these filters here. The help we need from the community right now is just sewing of the mask. So making sure that that comes up to the bridge of the nose and down to the chin, and it's opened up throughout this pocket. Lastly, what we're going to be doing is adding the skin-safe double-sided adhesive tape. And this tape actually will help create a seal around where your face is sealed, so that filter piece of it. So I know that this tape is clear, and I'll do my best here to kind of create and mimic that for you. Basically using the tape here, we create it across the bridge of the nose. You would kind of create a seal that goes all around where this white part is here. So then when you would put the mask on, you would be able to seal it across your face. So by putting it on in that fashion. So the piece with that we found that is most important, we actually did a fit test with these masks here, and what we were finding is that when we did this with the filter in place without the adhesive tape, it did not pass the fit test. However, doing the fit test with the adhesive tape added the extra seal for us to be able to pass that test. We recognize by no means this is a scientific, well-studied process, but we did a study of one, and we were able to find that with the adhesive tape, it did help. So we're looking forward to studying this further. And again, I just wanted to say thank you all for your support.